All right, Pillzy. Want to let everyone know we are now in a time capsule. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that Pillzy is boots on the ground at CAA Arena. We are recording this right after the first win in Belleville Sens franchise history. 3-1 the score over the Toronto Marlies. Pillzy, take us inside the magical kingdom of CAA Arena. What was the energy like in there, and how did the game unfold?
Yeah, I mean, Ross, classic. As soon as I got to the game, the Marley scored on the first shot on goal. Classic. So I was like, oh boy, here we go. Tough night. But the Belleville Senators, it was a clinic since after that goal. The shots were insane. I think it ended up being like 38-16, something like that. Like Belleville would control the puck most of the game. Whenever the Marlies had any time in the offensive zone, it wasn't sustained pressure. Tyler Clevin was an absolute physical beast out there, not letting anyone get around him, and with a beautiful goal. And yeah, Zach Ostapchuk, he really showed out in this one. We heard Footy tell us on our last episode to watch out for him in the playoffs. He looks good so far with the goal and the assist. And then, of course, Curry with a nice goal as well. So the Belleville Senators getting their first ever franchise win at home at the CAA Arena. I'm glad I'm here for it, Ross. Pretty special moment.
Is it ever? Because look, I mean, CAA Arena home for the Belleville Sens over the last number of years, 2017-18. This is the first win for the Sens franchise in the last 8 years. Like, we are going back to 2017 for that. So great to see. Still got to get to the Sweet 16, right? This is the play-in round, but you got to win the games in front of you. Belleville taking care of home ice. 3-1 tonight, despite allowing the first goal, as Pillzy mentioned, on the first shot. What was the energy like in the rink? Was it go Sens, go right afterwards, try to get the boys back into it, or was it a bit quiet for a few minutes?
It was a little quiet for a while, and Ross, you know from working here for a while with me that whenever the Marlies are here, usually it's a big Marlies crowd. I think the fact that the Leafs were playing tonight really helped out the Belleville Senators part of the crowd, because the Marlies, sure, they got up for that goal, but they didn't have anything else to cheer for after that, and it was a full Sens rink pretty much. A couple blue sweaters dotted in and out of the crowd, but for the most part, it was all home team, baby, and the Bees got it done for the good people in the Bay of Quincy.
The jersey looks great, Pillzy. It certainly does, and worth the watch on YouTube. Mine better be in a bag there. It's going to be some white glove carrier service here to Winnipeg. I need to get my hands on that. And the Belleville Sens can get their hands on a top 16 playoff spot with a win on Friday. Give me some of the top performers in this game. Like, we saw Zach Ostapchuk, first AHL goal. He was a monster in the WHL playoffs. 2 years, one with Vancouver, one with Winnipeg. He picked up right where he left off with a goal and an assist tonight.
Yeah, Ostapchuk definitely the top player, Ross. That give and go he had with Curry was electric, and then his goal was a thing of beauty. And I would definitely say he was earning the first star here. He was probably the most impactful player. Our guy, though, Stephen Halliday, the disher, probably not as popping off on the score sheet, but I thought you could really see his size when you're close to the rink. He's a big kid, and he was making some plays with the puck. So I thought that was a really nice showing from Halliday. And then, like I said, whenever Clevin's out there, you just felt so calm, you felt so good. And then for him to pull off that beautiful goal, Ross, I didn't notice one single thing from Niemela or Hervin. No, both those guys combined, nothing, zeros. Tyler Clevin, an absolute Belleville Senators legend.
And we know he plays a physical brand of hockey. Was there a lot of that in this game? Was it a lot of territorial, hey, I'll push you, you push me type thing? Or what was the atmosphere like in terms of the physicality front?
I mean, not as physical as I thought it would be, Ross. So seeing as this is playoffs with two heated rivals, as we talked about, Battle of Ontario hasn't happened very much recently. So I thought things would get ramped up. But at the end of the game, we saw Zach Ostapchuk get the mix with some Marlies players that they didn't like his play. And he said, hey, look at the scoreboard. Look at how this one went. I got a goal and an assist. I don't need to fight you out here. And the real thing I noticed, Ross, Boko and Mama, when he's out there, he is looking for prey. Like, he's circling, like it almost Chris Neal-esque when he's out there, and you can tell his eyes are wide. He's looking for a hit, and Boko Mama is an absolute fan favorite here. Anytime he stepped on the ice, he had kids, like 5, 6-year-old kids pointing and yelling, "Mama, Mama," and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a Mama time! Let's go, Boko!" Like, he really is a crowd favorite here. So I think the people of Belleville have come to appreciate what he does on the ice.
Dominant performance in terms of the shot share. How'd Matt Sogard look in the Sens crease?
Unfortunately, Ross, I didn't get to see a whole lot of him because the Marlies didn't really do much. That first goal that happens too, that's not on Mads. That was a weird deflection. It was a tough one for him to kind of get a sight of, and it moved on him last moment. So I don't really blame him on the goal. Apart from that, though, he was really good at any shots that came his way. The glove was working tonight. He was making sure he wasn't giving up big rebounds. And the Marlies really didn't test him that much. Like, shots from the perimeter, that was kind of it. There was no big highlight reel saves he had to make. So I'm hoping Mads gets a little more involved in the games as they go on here, because he's going to be a big part of this team's success. But hey, only one goal on, 17 shots? Not bad for Mads Sogard as the Sens get a 3-1 win here.
Yeah, really nice night. So Sens in 2. Is that the mood going into Friday's game against the Marlies?
Ross, it's going to be hard going on the road. We gotta admit that, even though it's just a quick ride down the 401 here, pretty much same journey as I'm about to do when we get off here. But if this game is indicative of what the rest of the series is going to be like, the Marlies don't have a chance. I mean, there was no one from the Marlies that stood out. There was no one that was making highlight reel plays. Like I mentioned earlier, there was no sustained pressure from the Marlies. Like, the Belleville Senators, stick taps to David Bell and the coaching staff, they had these guys ready to go, and they played a good, hard defensive game. So I don't think the Marlies have a chance in this one if play continues like this.
All right, same thought process as David Foote. I like it. You've seen the boys on the ice and looking good, looking for a Sweet 16 berth. They can do that with a win Friday in Toronto. If things continue after that, it will be a Sunday afternoon game back in Belleville, a win or go home situation. But advantage Belleville after a huge win tonight. The goal scorers for Belleville: Zach Ostapchuk on a breakaway from Josh Curry and Donovan Sabrango. Then Tyler Clevin made a beautiful move to his backhand to put it upstairs after getting a nice feed from Garrett Pilon. Max Gannett draws a secondary assist on that one. And then just a little while later, the Clevin goal was 48 seconds into the second period. Josh Curry's comes 10 minutes and 30 seconds in off of a feed from Zach Ostapchuk. Pillzy mentioned in goal, solid performance. As good as he had to be. It wasn't tested overly. 16 saves for Mads Sogard. Dennis Hildeby with 35 saves in goal. Pillsy, final question for me. I know there's a lot of the talk in Ottawa. It's the head coach. What's going to happen? Safe to say that David Bell out-coached John Gruden tonight?
I mean, I would certainly say that. Like, I didn't really notice the Marlies making any adjustments. I didn't notice, any sort of changes happening for the Marlies. So if I'm making the call to Steve Staios, I know which way I'm leaning.
All right, well, get home safe, Pillsy. Great to do this from the rink. Hope everyone enjoyed it. For more, tune in to Locked On Senators, your team every day. Final thoughts from you, sir.
It's great to be back at CAA Arena. It was nice to see a Belleville Senators victory, and great to see Toronto Marlies fans leaving very sad.
That's Brandon Pillar, boots on the ground at CAA Arena.